It's so good. I guess we can record now?
Yes. Okay, let's do that.
I'll hit my button in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, hang on. I went before you did.
It's all good. It doesn't matter.
Alright, fair enough. Do you want to clap?
Sure. Clapping
All right.
the music.
I can't hear that music.
I know. You'll see it after. Stupid. I'll figure it out. Oh no, I lost your face. There it is.
It's my face.
On the screen. Fix my crop on you. Alright, here we go. Hello everybody and welcome to the Sunday Morning Super Show. My name is Locke Vincent, I'm your host with my fellow co-host Jam and Slaver.
Hello, everyone.
And we are here on November 30th to talk about everything, most importantly video games that we've been playing this week and some other establishments that have happened. First things first, I'm going to cut this beautiful music. Thank you, Kozalek from Luftrausers. Jam, it has been 1 week since we last talked. Oh. No, don't die on me, Internet. Don't die on me. There we go. Stay with me, Jam. Are you there?
Mm-hmm. I'm still here.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Woo!
Yeah.
Thought you were dying on me. Anyways, how are you doing, man? It's been a week.
I'm doing well. Yeah, it's been a week. It's been a nice, relaxing week this week because here in the States we've had Thanksgiving, and so I'm on my fourth day not going to work. I'm in my pajamas and my dressing gown, and we've just about gotten through all the foods. But yeah, I'm enjoying my time relaxing and playing video games. So yeah, it's been good. It's been really nice. How about you?
I've been well. Instead of celebrating Thanksgiving, I have celebrated the coming of winter finally to Calgary, where I'm at, and it's like I have gotten. As I've grown older, I've become weaker to the cold, and I can no longer brave it as much as I did before. I've become quite. I don't know. I kind of go into a hibernation mode when it gets past minus 20 degrees Celsius. And garbage starts piling up. I don't take the recycling out as often, things like that. But thankfully, my dog is a husky, so he enjoys the cold, and therefore I need to go out, and he forces me outside. But it's fine. No, it's good. I've been well. I've just been hunkering down, and when things get colder, my business slows down in terms of filming outdoors. So I
can imagine.
Yeah, I get a little more creative with finding things to do inside as well as my editing.
Got this wonderful technology called green screen nowadays,
yes,
and you can record outside when you're not even outside.
So yeah, the green screen goes up and pants go down, and then it's all movie magic from there. Sonny isn't with us today. He's out for lunch, which is fine. I think all he's been playing is Pinball and Binding of Isaac. So. Nothing different there. I still been playing Binding of Isaac, man. That game gets better and better. Make sure. Do you have a Vita?
No, I don't.
But you have the PS4 version.
Yeah, I downloaded it on the PS4, and yeah, it's pretty good. Interesting differences I noticed from the PC version, which I had before. I only played like 5 minutes of it just to see, but like the main thing I noticed is that the art style is subtly different, and the some of the rooms are not like single screens, like they're bigger and they scroll.
Totally.
But that's basically the only difference I noticed. But yeah, that's a cool game. I enjoyed playing it the first time around. I'm probably not going to dive too deeply into it again.
Nice. Did you get anything? That's the fabled Black Friday. Now you're in the States where it's crazy and consumerism.
Oh man!
Did you go nuts to just when in Rome, right?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, luckily we didn't leave the house, which was ideal. And in fact, I wasn't actually intending to buy anything, of course. But I did eventually. I picked up a nice new Nexus 9 tablet, which I'm displaying for the live viewers at home. Yeah, it's really nice. I've got a Nexus 7 and a Nexus 4, and both of those are starting to show their age a little bit. The Nexus 7 especially.
Yeah.
And so I figure I'm going to use this Nexus 9 for game playing on the go. Whereas my Nexus 7 has kind of been it's been put into a comfortable retirement of playing videos that I download from Giant Bomb.
Perfect.
which is really good for, because it has that aspect ratio.
Yeah.
I mean they're both widescreen, but it has still the 16:9 aspect ratio, so that's quite nice.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm digging into. I mean, it's always the thing when you get a new device. It's like, oh gosh, what do I do? I'm totally discombobulated, and I deliberately didn't sync my settings from another device because it's not the same device. So it's not a replacement tablet, it's a new tablet. So I'm kind of setting it up bit by bit and figuring out what I can actually do with it. But it's interesting because both my phone and my Nexus 7. With Nexus devices, if people don't know, that it would behave exactly the same as a new device, which has Android Lollipop. But for some reason,
awesome.
They don't. They don't. It's like the app button is just different in a weird way. It just looks different, and it's really strange because you would think that's just software. Why would it look different? But it does. So yeah,
nice.
It's interesting getting to know this actually new bit of software and like actually using the real new hotness instead of the sort of slightly downgraded version, which I have on my other devices.
Awesome. That's exciting. I managed to pick up a new keyboard. I've been eyeing up this brand called Das Keyboard for a while. And
Das Keyboard?
Yeah, Das Keyboard. So it's good because it's German made, right? And
sure. Is it German keyboard layout? Because that would be a problem.
No, it is fortunately not. It's regular keyboard layout. But,
okay. It's not a QWERTY Z.
No. Is that what's the one that programmers use? Is that like a weird keyboard layout?
You're thinking of Dvorak.
Dvorak,
yeah, as it's pronounced.
Dvorak,
yeah, but no, the German keyboard layout. I think the Y and the Z are inverted or some things like that. I can't remember.
Weird. But yeah, this one's like a high-end mechanical keyboard. It was on sale. I was looking at it a couple months ago, and I kind of waited. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've been rocking the Logitech G15 for about a decade now, so I thought
Which one's G15? I've got a Logitech in front of me, but I have no idea what the
is. Well, it's the one that says G15 on the top right, but it has
mine doesn't do that.
An orange, like sort of an orangey LED, not like weird neon orange, but like if you're looking at an old computer screen orange sort of thing, like some weird terminal. But yeah, it's been a great keyboard. It does some weird things, but I mean, it's been a workhorse for sure. But I am looking forward to trying out, like, I got it with Cherry MX Browns, so the softer tactile ones, not the ones where you need like a hammer to push the keys down. But they do give you a bit more of, leverage on your push down. So, which I'm looking forward to, especially for, Dota and some other sort of Twitch gaming stuff. But not that I'm going to be like, oh, I have this new keyboard, I'm going to be good at things now, but more just like, I'm curious to see what it feels like.
Yeah, of course.
Other than that, I picked up a couple things. There's a Steam sale going on, and I picked up... I just go to... Now I'm at the point where I go to my wish list and see what's on sale, just because I own 90% of the games that are on sale anyways. So now I just see if there's...
They've actually made that they've actually made it quite easy to do that now. Like
Totally.
it used to be they sent you emails when that happened. In fact, they probably still send me emails. But yeah, now it's like you click on the My Recommendations panel, and then it goes and like everything at the top is stuff on your wish list, which is on
Totally.
sale, which is smart. I'm actually going to check Steam now because I haven't actually bought anything on this sale. I looked at it on Wednesday afternoon, which is the
Yeah.
last time I was at work.
Yeah.
And I haven't actually checked it since. Although that was one of the things I did on my new tablet was put the Steam store on there because
Awesome.
you always want to be able to check it quickly, like especially around Christmas time. That's usually when the mobile version of Steam is really useful because you're at home for the holidays and you're not near your computer, but you can still browse the catalog and figure out what you want.
Oh,
and
here we go.
what presents to get for people.
Exactly. So I picked up all the Payday DLC I was missing. So there was like the Hotline Miami pack, a couple of the weapon packs. There are like $1 each. So I was like, why not? I apparently didn't have the Christmas soundtrack, so I'm gonna now have that. And
It's
then
Christmas soundtrack.
yeah, for Payday.
That game is ridiculous.
It's
I'm
awesome.
sorry that I've never gotten into
Oh
it.
no, it's fine. It's got a weird barrier, but it's pretty awesome. And then anything of note, I picked up a game called Red Shirt, where you play as the Red Shirt from
Red Shirt?
Star Trek. But
That's cool.
it's not set in the Star Trek universe. It's set in a satirical one. So
Yeah, that would be an amazing licensed game.
totally. And the other one of note was Signal Ops, which is like you're an officer for this sort of spy group, and it's done in it almost looks like it's out of Psychonauts or like 30 Flights of Loving, and it's got it's like this pure spy game where you have different cameras you're looking at and different angles, and you're controlling multiple things at once, and you can see the sniper guy's reticle, but they can also see out of a camera. So like super macro management of a spy game, which I haven't seen. I think it's quite unique. So I managed to pick that up. Mixed reviews on it, but I'm definitely looking forward to that. But yeah, there's you can get tons of stuff for cheap. Like the new Thief is $8, which some would argue is a little much for that game. But I mean, The Witcher 2 for less than $5, like go play that. Go play Rogue Legacy.
Yeah.
Dragon Age 1. Well, we'll talk about Dragon Age 3 in a second, but the first Dragon Age is $5. Like, it's an awesome time to pick up some games.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
And other than that, not too much else in terms of announcements. Still playing. I've been playing Smash Brothers quite a bit, exploring the Smash Tour mode, which I didn't get a chance to talk about last week. But the Smash Tour mode plays like think Mario Party, and the mini games are the fights. So you're going around a board. You are rolling a dice to get moves. You pick up items. You can use those items, and then at the very end, what it comes down to is a big battle, and the person who, as you are taking turns and fighting, you are collecting more and more fighters. So if you have more fighters, you have an advantage at the end. You have essentially more lives to spend. So even though you didn't do well during the board game portion of the game, and maybe you only collected 3 fighters and the other guy has 6, you still have a fighting chance if you're a better fighter than that person. So it's fun. It's a really different take.
That's cool.
And it's something different than just, okay, let's do another battle. Okay, let's do another battle. And but yeah, I still, honestly, I've only gone through like kind of half the roster and still exploring the different move sets, and really only scraped the surface on the different loadouts with the characters. Because as you unlock things, when you go through like Smash Tour and the different game modes, you're unlocking different moves for the characters that you can add. So say you maybe wanted Bowser to not have fire breath, and you wanted to have him do a fireball throw or a fireball toss or something like that, you can swap those moves out, which I think that adds quite a bit of a different dynamic to the game, because my Bowser might fight very differently than your Bowser. So
yeah, that's an interesting thing that they put on top of it that's new for this game.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. Like, I mean, it would still be a really good game without that, but I like that it adds a bit, a little a second degree of depth, which is neat. So, yeah, Smash Brothers. I'm actually really looking forward to playing Smash Brothers over the holidays when I have people over and when I'm
Yeah.
visiting family and friends, because that's really when it shines, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the point where Smash Brothers really comes into its own. Because I played a lot of Melee on the GameCube by myself. Like
yes.
I did its single player progression, which was entirely different. It seems like every time they produce a new Smash Brothers, they try to they take another stab at doing the single player stuff, and it sounds like the success they have on that varies quite a bit. Because I quite enjoyed that, but it was mostly just for unlocking trophies.
Totally.
And the ridiculous extra characters, but yeah, like definitely, in-person multiplayer is the reason to have Smash Brothers.
Yeah. And I finished Shadow of Mordor. I know you touched upon that last week.
Yeah, I finished it too. Actually.
Oh, nice! I thought that was a really good game. I thought they did a really good job on it.
It's a solid game.
Yep.
I think for me it doesn't leave a massive lasting impression, but
No,
it is very
totally.
well made, and it's a lot of fun whilst you're playing it.
Yeah.
I was sitting with my new team this week at work, and I had a conversation with a guy who had like 100% of that game, apart from like the one last thing he needed to do to get the platinum trophy,
Yeah.
And I considered that because I really did enjoy it, but there are just some things about that game which prevent me from tiny little things that prevent me from diving really deep into it in the same way that I did with Assassin's Creed 4. And the main one of those is that the stealth missions are too hard and there's no easy way to restart them. I think that's the main problem I have with like that kind of thing. So like I got the achievements for completing the Legend of my sword and Legend of my bow, but I only got like just over halfway through the dagger ones, just because towards the end it's things like, oh, you have to go through this massive camp without getting spotted, and if you do get spotted, like even for an instance, that's the mission failed, and there's no way to warp you back to the start of the mission.
No,
again.
you're stuck there, and then you're usually in the middle of a giant fight, and then you die, and then you're like, okay, well, I'll just go do something else.
Yeah, exactly. So it's fun, but like there are some things in that, and I touched upon this last week, but to a certain extent, I burned myself out on the tedious open world stuff with Assassin's Creed 4, where I was, sailing around this massive ocean collecting boxes which didn't do anything. So I'm not going to like walk around this smaller but still, compared to your movement size, large open world and collect flowers to complete those quests.
Yeah, it was weird. I managed to do most of the side quest stuff, but it stopped giving me notification. I was reliant on the notifications for, hey, this animal is around you. You should probably hunt it. So I got stuck halfway through because I didn't go seek out like bats. Obviously, bats live in a cave, so I could probably go to one of the multiple caves in there. But I just I didn't think of it because there was like 6 other things to do instead of shoot at bats.
Yeah, that's actually where I got to on the hunting missions as well, is the bats. And again, this was when I was it was on my last couple of playthroughs where I was like, okay, I'm gonna tidy up. Last couple of play sessions, where I was like, okay, I'm gonna tidy up a couple of things and I'm gonna put the game away. And so when I happened to be in caves briefly, I turned on the Wraith Vision just to see if there were any around, and there weren't. So I just didn't bother.
And I'm exactly same impression. It's not gonna leave this big mind blowing thing, but I enjoyed it a ton playing through and manipulating the war chiefs and doing that. Was a ton of fun. By the end, I had converted every single one to my side, which I thought was kind of fun.
Nice. Yeah, that system is really satisfying when you can do that.
Yeah, and then what was the other one that I didn't? I thought it was really weird. It was like for each of the weapons, it was like 10 missions. Survival challenge was 10. Hunting was 10, and then it's like 24 rescue missions or the slave missions where you have to go rescue the captured slaves, and that was a bit staggering, I thought, because it's weird to be like, those are the most repetitive missions. Every single one is go free 3 slaves, and at the end it's like I had 9, and I was like, oh, I'm pretty close to being done, and then I looked at the little progression path, and they're like, nope, you have 24 of those to accomplish. So I didn't end up doing those because I thought they were a little boring at the end.
Yeah,
but
I actually did end up doing all of those.
Wow.
this because they were more approachable, and because the secondary, like the bonus objective, is different each time, which I quite enjoyed. So I would always do that.
But yeah, by the end, when you get the powers, when you can, I forget what it's called. It's like Shadow of Orcan or something, and you click in both sticks and you just murder people, and you can
that's fun.
infinitely execute, which was great because I went back to like clean up a mission, and I turned that on, and I just took out a whole stronghold by myself, just murdered them. And that was a nice little power fantasy, so I was good. But yeah, that's a good game. I think people should play that. Don't expect it to change your life, but it is a really cool system, even just to experience that Nemesis system. And I've even went in and but I've talked to a couple of friends who are still playing on PS3 and Xbox. They're not huge gamers, but they like to play a game once in a while, and they're like, "Hey, what's this Shadows of Mordor game like?" And I was like, whatever you do, don't play that on an old generation console because you don't get the Nemesis system. So
yeah, I'm kind of curious to know how that works. Is it just that?
It's just
Do you think they script out all of the positions of everything? Like this war chief is this war chief, and it doesn't change throughout the game.
I'll answer that twofold. I think it's because the power, it takes a lot of computing power to run the AI system in the background, but then...
Yeah, I know why it happens.
Yeah, but then I read an interview, I forget who it was with, it might have been through Polygon, or Rock, Paper, Shotgun, but a guy was saying, like, when a war chief pops up, it's actually kind of a roulette system where they choose his appearance, his voice, his attributes, and it's just like rolling the dice on it, and that's how they randomly generate those guys.
Of course.
Once they're generated, then they kind of run their little path, and they'll hang out in different areas. I don't know what the limitations on that system is in terms of like this war chief will never leave these boundaries, but
it's what I meant is I wonder what the experience playing the previous generation version of this game is like, because that's a major system that's missing.
I bet it's just a crappy open world game or a mediocre open world game.
But presumably they still have to have the captains and the war chiefs. It's just maybe it's more static. Maybe it's not random.
I don't know. Yeah, they would have to have them because then like most of the missions are like go deal with this war chief, or like the ones towards the end of the chapters, or it's like, yeah, you have to brand all 5 of these guys, so they have to exist in the world.
Yeah.
Cool. So Shadow Mordor, we both wrapped that. Probably won't visit again, but the DLC for that game was weird. It's just like new skins and like a challenge mode, but...
Yeah.
Before we get to Dragon Age, I played the new Geometry Wars 3.
Yeah, how is that?
It's really fun. It takes a little bit to get used to. Everything's the same except for the board. And what I mean by that is it feels like some of the stages feel like Super Stardust because you're going around a sphere. And some of the stages kind of have this weird motion when you go, like say you have a rectangle, when you go to the bottom right of the rectangle, the screen sort of moves its weight to the bottom right. So you don't see the top left as much, which is really it's really jarring at the start, but then you get used to it. I did end up turning down a lot of the details because there is a ton of explosions happening, and you really don't want that interfering with, like, it's nice to see at the start, but when you're trying to go for the high scores, you don't want anything interfering with the vision of your ship. So I ended up just lowering a ton of detail just to get like literally the polygonal shapes, my weapon, and like pickups. So
it's interesting that they let you do that.
Yeah, it is.
Did they let you do that in the previous games? I don't remember.
No, you couldn't. It was like you could only do that, and you can only do that on the PC version of this game. You can't do it on the PS4 version. That
makes sense then, because if it's a PC version and maybe your PC can't run it, then turning down some of that graphical detail. Because I remember when Space Giraffe came out, one of the tips that people... the major problem with Space Giraffe is trying to figure out what the hell's going on, and so one of the tips people had was like, you can like reduce the volume, and that reduces the ridiculousness of some of the effects, and you can see better. But yeah, okay, because I was going to say, like, changing some of that visual density is kind of part of the game, like being able to navigate it is necessary. The thing that I heard about Geometry Wars 3, apart from the new stuff, which actually made me kind of want to pick it up, is that it has Geometry Wars 2 in it.
Yeah, you can play classic mode, which is Geometry Wars 2, and that's not a bad thing. So
Yeah, so that's cool.
it has a co-op mode, which is kind of interesting, and you can do.
Is it local or is it?
It is local only. And
okay, like Geometry Wars 2, it had co-op as well.
Yeah, you do 2 to 4 player co-op, and then at the end you have to fight a really hard boss, and that's kind of interesting too. So, it is a solid game. It changes a couple different things that obviously purists are going to disagree with, but at the same time you can still play Geometry Wars 2 within it. So there's no reason why you shouldn't upgrade. But yeah, fun game. I mean, it's like $15, well worth your time and money, and it's pretty, man. It still looks awesome. So
still geometry,
still shapes and sparkles. They did change the black hole design, which is kind of interesting. It definitely takes into account the 3D nature of the map or the board, which is cool. So, and a couple new game types. There's one called claustrophobia, which the walls close in.
Nice.
That's pretty cool. But you got classics in there like pacifism is in there. They actually did change pacifism. Instead of going through gates, you actually have to pick up or touch bombs that are left by enemies, but the bombs chain together, so you can kind of wait until there's a bunch on screen and then hit them all at once, which is kind of neat. But yeah, great game. I give it a thumbs up for the couple hours I played so far. And obviously all of the top scores and leaderboards are integrated in there really well. You remember when that was a big thing when they had the leaderboard in the top right, where it was like,
I mean, Geometry Wars 2 did that, and I don't play a huge number of games which are very score based, but it seemed like no one else really took that idea and ran with it, because they just did it so well. Like, it's such a smart idea of, this is the score you need to beat, so go.
Totally, yeah. And now you see that in Pinball FX2 has that. Like, the next player who you're going to surpass is in the top right, and it's just that nice little carrot on the stick perfect for score based games. So, tell me about Dragon Age, or why you don't have your wife right now.
Yeah, so Marina's been playing a lot of Dragon Age, excuse me, over the past weekend, and she's been really enjoying it. I can tell. There are a few frustrations with the game that she's told me about. It seems to be kind of buggy. Like, there are a lot of technical issues with the game. She was mentioning that things like some of the dialogue wheel stuff doesn't work. Like, sometimes you'll be just stuck in a conversation and there's nothing you can do.
Weird.
Things like the things in the environment that you should be able to interact with, but you can't. And I can't remember what the other one is. There have been a few instances where she's been, because in order to do certain things in the game, you have to be controlling a certain party member, because each party member has individual abilities. So there'll be a magic door or something that only a mage can get through. I'm paraphrasing, because as I said, I've not played the game myself. And she'll switch to that character and realize that they're all the way back at the other half of the map because they weren't following you properly. Things like that.
Weird.
So it sounds like there are some definite frustrations with playing that game, but she's really enjoying it. She really likes the world, and the way that the story is told. Like, she feels it's very not cheesy, and that the randomly that the game gives you to just do is better crafted than in a game like Skyrim. It has more personality to it.
What do you know? Can you elaborate on that randomly generated content? Do you know what that is by any chance?
I'm not exactly sure. I don't know if it's actual, because I know that Skyrim Skyrim had this thing where it would never let you alone. Like, it would make sure that you always had something to do.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if it's actually procedurally generated content or if it's just the side content. But the thing she mentioned about it is that there's just more variety. Like, with Skyrim, the quests, the side quests tend to be a bit generic. But for Dragon Age, they do seem to be a bit more crafted, and also the areas that you're going to are more varied than in Skyrim because it's not just, snowy landscape. There are that provide a bit more variety in that way.
Right. I picked this up, but I have only played the multiplayer because I haven't finished Dragon Age 2. I was helping the Co-Optimist guys with the review, and we were streaming some of the multiplayer, the co-op, and it plays like Mass Effect 3, the co-op in that, which was that really grew on me. I really liked the sort of instance-based horde mode. This is more of a dungeon crawl where you're not in one. You don't just stand in one area and enemies come to you. You go through this little mini dungeon. You have sort of 5 different areas you have to clear out, and at the end you fight a boss, and then you get loot, and you can upgrade your guy, your weapons, as well as you get to unlock classes, which I think is really cool. Like, you don't just have a mage class. The mage class is split into a necromancer and an elementalist and an alchemist, and then same with like the warrior class is split into a legionnaire, a reaver, and then the thief class. They all have subclasses which you have to unlock, which I think gives a lot of replayability to it. And I'm looking forward to just sort of playing around with that while I play catch up on Dragon Age 2. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So.
I actually wasn't aware that there was even multiplayer.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's cool. And one thing that really stands out that I've only noticed in the multiplayer, but is the art style on the game looks beautiful, but the art style on things like the icons for your abilities and the portraits and they actually, during the loading screens, they have these cards that pop up. And holy cow, the cards
I have
are
seen
beautiful.
those, and they're really nice.
I want a boxed CCG that I could play some sort of card game of Dragon Age. I think that would be really cool. But using that art, I mostly like the art. So, but awesome. I'm looking forward to getting to that. I'm actually playing the game with a controller instead of a keyboard and mouse, which I find it suits the combat more, I find. The controller, the gamepad, I'm using a 360 controller, so. That being said, have you hooked up your PlayStation 4 controller to your computer at all? I'm going to kill the video, see if that helps.
No, I haven't. And I still have a oh, 360 controller, which I have on this computer, but okay, have that.
Oh, good.
Okay, yeah, that's weird. Yeah, my Skype keeps on like signing itself in.
No worries.
It does the spinny. It does the spinny icon. Yeah, maybe someone else is using the internet. I don't know. Anyway.
But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to getting back to that after I clean up Dragon Age 2. That Dragon Age 2, obviously known as the weaker one in the series. I'm just gonna mostly try and mainline that one. See if I can get through it. Have you played any of the Dragon Ages?
Well, I played the first one, and I like the world, and I like the fact that it was quite a old-fashioned RPG.
Yeah.
It's old-fashioned.
Oh no, Jam fell down. We'll wait for him. He'll be back. I promise. What? Weird. James Volner. Come back, Lord Volner. Please? please? I'm calling him back. Well, Dragon Age. It's fun. I mean, it's a good game. It's super well put together. We'll see if we can get him back. But yeah, like the control, it's weird to play. You know, I played the first Dragon Age purely with a keyboard and mouse because, you know, I was like, this is kind of like Baldur's Gate. I want to have tactical advantages and, you know, be able to control things quite easily. But because they've changed the combat, to be more action based, I find just using a controller is it feels more natural to the combat. So that's why. So yeah, I think that's it for Dragon Age. We got a couple other things we want to touch on. We're halfway through the show here. We'll see. A little over. A couple mobile games, as well as I've been playing. Oh, let's see if Jab gets back. Call. Hello.
Okay. How's that?
It's not great,
Hello.
but I can hear
me.
you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's hope it sticks.
All right. Yeah. So I was just talking about sort of using a controller with Dragon Age and how that is intuitive to the combat, and I find that even though I played Dragon Age 1 with a keyboard and mouse purely, it just feels more natural with a controller. So. Moving right along, remember that game Never Alone that Sonny was talking about, the Inuit, the Alaskan game? I managed to convince Kara to play that with me because she likes Aboriginal things and that, and she's pretty well ingrained in that community. But it's beautiful. Again, yeah, it is an Alaskan limbo. And really interesting co-op play. One of us got to play as the fox. One of us played as the girl. The fox is adept at platforming, whereas the girl is more, she can like use her bola to knock down ice and get platforms and that sort of thing. So yeah, that is a great game, and I hope it doesn't, like, it's probably going to get passed over based on aesthetics and people, but definitely check this out because it is really cool. The art style is really neat, and again, that the little cultural hooks that you can look into whenever you get a checkpoint are awesome. Like, it's a really neat collaboration of sort of that community, but basically taking their culture, put it into a video game to allow people to sort of learn about it. So I like that.
Cool.
You've been playing Dust, an Elysian Tale, Blast from the Past.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I I started playing it out on the PC a few months ago, actually, before I moved to California, as kind of like a stopgap game. And I put it down because the PS, well, I put it down because I moved, and the PS4 PlayStation Plus version came out since I was here, and so I downloaded that, and I've been playing it because it's a really fantastic game. Like the 2D combat is approachable, but there's some depth to it with the combo system and the way that you can sort of combine projectiles and melee.
Yep.
And yeah, I've been really enjoying that. If people haven't played it already or are maybe turned off by the sort of cartoony art style, it's actually a surprisingly deep and adult game in its storytelling, which I really appreciate. So yeah, I'm really enjoying the fact that I'm digging into that, and the fact that I'm playing it using a different controller, because I was using the 360 controller attached to my computer before, and that worked fairly well. But now it sort of has native controller support, and it also has trophies and things like that. So I'm enjoying that, and I'm not sure, but I think they've redone a couple of things to make the game a little bit more approachable, so it actually tells you a list of the combos, or at least it makes that stuff more obvious. And I'm not sure, but I think they've redrawn the portraits, not completely redrawn, like they're still the same artwork, but they're higher resolution. Because that was one of the things on the PC version, was you could turn the high res portraits on and off, but they were still like a bit aliased. So this is much nicer. So a beautiful looking, beautiful sounding game. Still an incredible achievement by one person
One
with
guy.
no help with the music. It's as someone who has made games in the past, it's kind of a humbling thing to play it because it is just so well made.
Yeah, I remember going through this. This is one of my games that I played through, I think, last summer and just engrossed myself in it and had a really good time. So I really hope that guy makes another game.
Yeah, me too.
It'd be really awesome because he's super talented.
Uh-huh.
I was playing Rise, a little bit more of Rise. I touched upon the game last week, but I dipped in a little more. Again, pretty decent. I don't have a ton else to say other than it's growing on me in terms of the combat. It's not a mind-boggling game. Really good launch title for the Xbox One, but I'm playing it on the PC. But I tried the co-op mode, which is a straight up arena horde mode in a Coliseum, of course. And man, does that just make me want to play. And I say this every friggin' time, but it makes me want to play Gladius, and I really want to like it's there. Like, you have an arena, all you got to do is put in some RPG elements and different tribes and races, which is in Rise. I just haven't encountered yet, but you can even select your model. Like, one of the models is like this tribal warlord. So all you got to do is just the Rise 2, Son of Rome, give me some RPG elements and we're set. So I just really want a Gladius 2. I'm dying for one. Not literally dying, but you know what I mean.
I've never played Gladius.
It does not hold up really well, but back in the day, it was an amazing. You would travel around different parts of Eurasia and the Middle East, and you would, based on what arena you were in, that's the types of enemies you would fight, and you would hire guys. Like, if you were in sort of Europe, you would hire more of the Anglos and Saxons, I guess, type of warriors. More barbaric type of guys. And then as you move down in the Middle East, it would be different things like Sumerians and whirling dervishes. But then they would also throw in a little bit of mythology, and you could also hire things like satyrs and Medusas and that sort of thing. So you could get these alternate characters. So it wasn't just gladiators. You would also hire like mythological creatures on your team, which I thought was a nice little addition. Mm-hmm. I revel in Greek and Roman mythology, and I love that sort of thing. So it was a nice sort of twist on a typical strategy RPG game. So
that's cool.
And now once you were in the actual fights, like past like the simulation sort of hiring and arranging your team sort of thing, when you were in the fights, it was a straight up turn-based strategy game. So it's a really, really cool game, and definitely that IP deserves another look at. So getting towards the end of what we've been playing, we both tried a different mobile game. On your new Nexus 9, were you doing the old Monument Valley?
No. I've only just got the Nexus 9. I was playing it on the Nexus 7, which still manages to run it perfectly well. But yeah, I downloaded and played the DLC for Monument Valley, which is the game which came out earlier this year. I realized it's actually not even a year old. And man, that game is just fantastic. Like, the stuff it does with shapes and dimensions, as well as just a really strong, bold art style, are just incredible. Like, second to none almost on mobile. And part of the reason that I even knew that this game existed was because I heard that people were complaining that it was paid DLC for this game, which kind of makes me sad, because this is definitely something that I am happy to pay for, because it is such good content that I want the developer, us to continue to make games like this.
Yeah, it is for those that you don't know, it's kind of like MC Escher puzzle game, akin to what we saw on the PSP, which was Echochrome. Mm-hmm. Remember back in the day, where you would turn the screen and different pieces of the architecture would line up differently, and that's how you would get around. Monument Valley, it is just, the art style sells me on this, and really just a stunning game, and looks to have some awesome puzzles. So I've heard complaints that it's a bit too easy. Is that an issue?
It's not the kind of game that you play for the challenge, because at any given time there are only a limited number of things you can really do. Like, the number of interactable elements is, you can almost always count them on one hand. Actually, I think always count them on one hand, and probably there are only one or two things, because you can move the Princess Ida around by tapping, and then occasionally there'll be either a handle you can turn or a textured surface that you can slide, and that's usually it.
Okay.
And it's just about manipulating that environment to help Ida get to the door at the end of the level. So yeah, you can usually brute force, and it's not usually that hard, but it's more for the experience.
Awesome. Cool, man. I managed to play a game that also has a really neat art style. It's called Crossy Road.
I've heard of Crossy Road. There's no Android version though, so I haven't been able to check it out.
Yeah, it's a voxel-based Frogger, and it is described as an endless hopper game. So, it kind of blends the genre of an endless runner, like Cannabalt, Jetpack Joyride, Monster Dash, that sort of thing, but in the mechanics of Frogger, where you are crossing the street sort of one row at a time. You can't go backwards, unfortunately, or at least I haven't figured out how to go backwards, but you can move left to right to avoid things. You're picking up coins along the way to unlock. You start out as a chicken, of course, yes, a chicken crossing the road, but very quickly you are able to play as a unicorn or a wizard or a bull, or there's just tons of different guys.
Do they play differently?
Absolutely not. I don't think so. At least I haven't looked. I think it's just skins, as far as I can tell. I've only unlocked 2 additional characters, so it's free, and it's a really cool looking game, and it's fun, and it's one of those games that you like to have on your phone for a little distraction while you're waiting in line. So. Sure. Crossy Road for iPad, iPhone. It's a fun game. I also like the developer because their name is Hipster Whale, which I thought was kind of. That
is a great name.
It's a team of 3, and it's a decent game. But play Monument Valley first, I would say, because holy crap. Other than that, anything else? Anything else you've been playing that we missed, Jam?
I don't think so. I think that's basically been it for me this week.
Yeah, did I ever talk to you about door kickers?
No, you didn't, actually.
Okay, I will save that for next show. I'll play a bunch of door kickers and talk about that, because it's quite an interesting hidden gem, I will say, that if people are looking for gifts and Christmas stuff and that sort of thing. Like I said, this week is going to be pretty good for me. I'm looking forward to hopefully wrapping Rise, and I really, really, really want to play Wasteland 2, because I kickstarted that game and I haven't touched it. So that's the sort of action art, sort of not an action RPG, but a turn-based RPG that predated Fallout, and obviously they remade it through Kickstarter. So I'm looking forward to that. And of course, I picked up Bravely Default, and that has been my dedicated mobile game, other than Binding of Isaac. What's on the docket for your week?
So I'm going to be hopefully finishing up Dust and Legion Tell, and maybe getting in a bit more Chariot, depending on whether or not I can get back to that PS4 with Marina.
Yeah,
so we'll have to see.
Good luck. Awesome. So if you want to check us out, I am Locke Vincent on Twitter, @LockeVincent, and this is @JamEnslaver, JAMENSLAVER. And holler at us, let us know what you're up to. And of course, you can watch the show live every Sunday morning, sometime between 5 a.m. and 1 p.m., because we like to roll like that, keep people on
depending
their
on your time zone.
Yeah, depending on your time zone. And obviously, all the content goes up, gamingalchemy.com. You can go check out things like other podcasts. We got the Games Only podcast up there, as well as some breakdowns and some reviews and lots of good things happening. I think that's it, man. I think that's it for me.
Yeah, that's it from me.
On behalf of myself and my good friend Jam, thank you so much for watching the Sunday morning Super Show. And we'll holla at you next week. Peace.
Bye.
I'm going to cut it there.
All right. Well, I will save this audio file. I didn't stop recording.
That's fine.
So hopefully you'll be able to use that. Let me do export. Cam podcast. What's the name? Right, well that was good. Got quite a few things to talk about.
Totally.